Meanwhile, the United Nations Security Council has convened an emergency meeting over the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant crisis as Russia and Ukraine continue to trade charges over who actually resorted to shelling at the nuclear power plant. The United Nations chief has called for a demilitarization of the plant, while the International Atomic Energy Agency chief has warned against the grave hour. My colleague Susan Tehrani gets you this report.
During an emergency session of the UN Security Council called by Russia, the head of UN's nuclear watchdog warned Thursday of, quote, very alarming military activity at Europe's largest nuclear plant, which is located in southeastern Ukraine. Rafael Grossi added that the International Atomic Energy Agency must be allowed to inspect Ukraine's Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant, also called ZPNN.
This is a serious hour, great hour, and the IAEA must be allowed to conduct its mission to Zaporizhzhia as soon as possible.
Grossi said statements received from Russia and Ukraine frequently contradict one another, and the IAEA can't corroborate important facts unless its experts visit the plant. While Zaporizhzhia is controlled by Russia, its Ukrainian staff continue to run nuclear operations. Ukraine and Russia blame each other for the shelling. Russia's ambassador told the council that accusations that its forces are shelling the plant are, quote, cynical and absurd.
All of this is being done contrary to common sense because the nuclear power plant is controlled by the Russian armed forces. Elementary logic would suggest that our soldiers would have no reason to shell either the plant or the town or themselves even.
Meanwhile, the Ukrainian ambassador to the UN pleaded to the international community to rally against Russia.
None of us can stop the wind if it carries radiation. But together, we are capable of stopping a terrorist state.
Council members all expressed concern about the situation during Thursday's meeting. India's permanent representative to the UN called for mutual restraint and warned of the dire consequences any accident at the nuclear facility might have for public health and the environment.
I thank you for your statement.
India expresses its concern over the reports of shelling near the spent fuel storage facility of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. We call for mutual restraint so as not to endanger the safety and security of nuclear facilities. Mr. President, India continues to remain concerned over the situation in Ukraine. Since the beginning of the conflict, India has consistently called for an immediate cessation of hostilities and an end to violence. We've called upon both sides to return to the path of diplomacy and dialogue. We support all diplomatic efforts to end the conflict.
Just hours before the meeting, Ukraine accused Russia of shelling the plant once again.
On August 8th, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, during a trip to Japan, condemned the recent attacks on ZNPP. He also expressed hope that the IAEA would have access to the plant for inspection. Once again, on August 11th, before the Security Council meeting here in New York, the Secretary General expressed his support for IAEA. He called on all parties to allow access of IAEA inspectors to the plant. He also called for the cessation of all military activities around the vicinity of that plant. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World This One.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.